class 9. Today we will start a new chapter, current, electricity. So children, in previous classes you have studied about electric current, about electricity. You have also studied the static electricity, like when you rub two bodies against each other, there is transfer of electron from one body to the other body. So the body which has deficit of electrons, it gains electrons, and the body which has excess of electron, it loses electrons to the other body. Now if two bodies are connected together, these two bodies are connected together, suppose through a wire, the electron gets a path to flow from one body to the other body. So this flow of electrons constitute charge, and the rate of flow of charge is called the electric current. In daily life, you use electric cells to get electric current. You use cells in torches, you use cells in remote controls. So what are cells? Cells are the sources of direct current. Direct current is abbreviated as DC. Cells are the sources of direct current. And what is direct current? Current of constant magnitude flowing in only one direction. Constant magnitude means its value will remain fixed. Suppose you are using a cell, then it will give a fixed value of current. It will not change. And the current will also flow in only one direction, unidirectional. That is called direct current. So when you use a cell and you connect it to a bulb, then the current flows always from the positive terminal of the cell to the negative terminal through the bulb of the torch which you are using. And the magnitude of current given by the cell remains constant for a sufficiently long time. So this type of current is called direct current. And in a cell, chemical energy changes into electrical energy when it sends current in a circuit. And you have already read that the cell is basically consists of vessel which contains two conducting rods which are called electrodes. One is positive electrode and another is a negative electrode, and they are kept in some separation and they are immersed in a solution or a jelly called the electrolyte. So the electrons flow from one electrode to the other electrode inside the electrolyte, and outside the cell the current starts flowing from the positive terminal of the battery to the negative terminal. Inside it is from negative to positive, but outside the cell along the circuit it is always from positive terminal to the negative terminal. So only one direction, so it is called a direct current. Now electrical cells are of two types, primary cells and secondary cells. Those cells which provide current as a result of irreversible chemical reaction, those are called as primary cells. So they are called use and throw cells. Once you use them, then the entire chemical energy has converted into electrical energy. You cannot use them again. You throw them. They cannot be recharged. Such type of cells are called primary cells. For example, simple voltaic cell, Leclanché cell, dry cell, these all are called primary cells. And the second one are the secondary cells or accumulators, these are called. In these cells, they provide current as a result of chemical reaction which is reversible. So they can be recharged after use. After taking the electrolyte and electrodes in the vessel, the cell is first charged by connecting to a direct current source. First you charge. During charging, the electrical energy changes into chemical energy and gets stored in these cells. And when you use these cells, then again chemical energy is changed into electrical energy. So in these, the chemical reaction is reversible and you can use them again and again for a long period of time. For example, lead accumulator and nickel iron accumulator are the two types of secondary cell. Secondary cell, like batteries which we use in your vehicles, those are called secondary cells. Now, what is the definition of electric current and the formula for electric current? Now, when two bodies are rubbed together, they get charged due to transfer of electrons from one body to the other body. The body which gains electrons becomes negative charge and the body which loses electrons becomes positively charged. A positive charge has deficiency of electrons while a negative charge has an excess of electrons. But the charges can be made to flow between them if they are connected together. If they are joined by metallic wire, the electrons flow from a body having more electrons to a body having less electrons. The body which will have more electrons, obviously it will be negatively charged body, and the body which has less electrons, it will be a positively charged body. So the electrons will flow from negative to positive. So this rate of flow of charge gives the magnitude of current. This flow of electrons is called charge. So I equals to Q upon T, rate of flow of charge. Whenever you are dividing something by T, that becomes rate, it's rate. So rate of flow of charge is given by Q upon T and this is called current. So I equals to Q upon T. So total charge pass can be given as I into T. And also Q equals to NE. See what is E? E is the charge on one electron, which is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Coulomb is the SI unit of charge. So this is the charge on an electron. So suppose n electrons are passing through the cross section in certain time. So how much total charge will be passed? Q equals to N into E, because E is the charge on one electron and n electrons are passing, so Q becomes Ne. So I is Q upon T, that means Ne upon T. So this formula also you can use, and this also, while you are calculating the value of the current. Now, direction of current, conventional and electronic current. The direction of current is always taken opposite to the direction of flow of electrons. So the electrons flow from negative body to positive body. So current will always flow from the positive to negative. The direction of current is always taken opposite to the direction of the flow of electrons. Now, what is the SI unit of current? The SI unit of current is called ampere, denoted by capital A. How do we get ampere? Dividing the unit of charge by the unit of time. That means 1 ampere is 1 coulomb upon 1 second. So 1 ampere is defined as the amount of current flowing when 1 coulomb of charge passes through a cross section in 1 second. Now 1 electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb with the negative sign. That means 1 coulomb contains how many electrons? 1 upon 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, which is 6.25 into 10 to the power 18 electrons. So 1 coulomb of charge contains 6.25 into 10 to the power 18 electrons. So this is the SI unit of current. But for measuring smaller values of current, we use milliampere and microampere. 1 milliampere is 10 to the minus 3 ampere, while 1 microampere is 10 to the power minus 6 ampere. Now when you deal with electric circuit, so you use symbols to denote the different electric components connected to the current source. So these figures show some of the electrical components which are used in electric circuit in the laboratory. Now these are the sources of current. Sources means from where you get the current. There are two types of sources, DC as I have already told, and another is AC. AC is alternating current. The source of electricity which comes from the main electricity, that is AC electricity, because its value continuously changes. Magnitude of current is changing and direction is also changing. So AC is represented by this symbol, and for DC we have cell and battery. So what is the difference between cell and battery? This is cell, and when we use a combination of cell connected in series, then it becomes a battery. This longer line represents positive terminal of the cell and smaller line represents the negative terminal. Now these are keys or switches to open or close the circuit. These keys are used to put the current on and off in a circuit. So this may be plug key, or this may be a switch, or it may be a tapping key. These are the cases when the key is open. That means when we are not using the cell, the circuit is open, no current is flowing. Now if we close them, so current starts flowing. So we connect it like this. This becomes, circuit becomes closed and we can use them. Now the next is resistance wire. Now the resistance wire is generally made from an alloy that is called a manganese, and it is fixed resistance depending upon its length and thickness and used as a standard resistance. And rheostat, which is denoted by RH, it is a device by which the resistance in a circuit can be changed continuously. So if in an electric circuit you are using a cell or a battery, it will have a fixed resistance. But how can you change the cell again and again? So it's better to use rheostat to get variable resistance. To change the resistance of the circuit, we use a rheostat. So this denotes a fixed resistance. Okay, we apply this to the circuit. This is the wire which have a fixed resistance. And this represents rheostat, whose resistance can be varied. It has three terminals, A, B and C. And this sliding contact is called jockey, which is placed on a brass rod. So by connecting this jockey to different different points, we get variable resistance. And now this is the symbol of ammeter. Ammeter is used to measure the amount of current flowing in a circuit, and it is always connected in series to the circuit. And this denotes voltmeter. Voltmeter is used to measure the potential difference between the ends connected of the load connected across the circuit. How much potential difference the current is providing, and it is denoted by V. And it is connected in parallel to the circuit, means below. And this denotes galvanometer, G. Galvanometer is used to detect the presence of current in the circuit, not to measure the magnitude of current, but only to detect whether current is passing or not through the circuits. Now we use load also, and we use connecting wires also, which are thick insulated copper